folks. Today I'm going to be reviewing an old game called Rail Baron. This game came out in 1977 from the Avalon Hill company, and it is for 3 to 6 players. Rail Baron is one of the earliest railroad-themed board games out there, and it's still played today. The object of this game is you are going to be trying to earn a set amount of money and then go back to what is called your home city for the win. Throughout the game, you're going to have the opportunity to purchase different railroad lines. You're going to be collecting fees, paying fees, and you're also going to have an opportunity to upgrade your locomotive. This is a rather cool game, and let me go ahead and show you how it works. Now, I'm going to be doing the 1977 rules to this game. There is a 21st century edition rules that you can find on the internet, and they have some modifications to the game. So you might want to check those out in case you want to see those. And the object of the game is you are going to be trying to amass $200,000 or more and try to get back to your home city with that much money. If you're able to do that, you are going to win the game. You've got your game board, and this game board is actually split off into 3 different pieces, which is really cool. They just go together like this. You've got your dice. The original game that I have has a different set of dice. I just replaced them because these are easier to read. You got your railroad deeds right over here, and here's an example one, Norfolk and Western, and then each of these railroads has a different symbol here that goes along with it. So for example, this dotted blue railroad over here is represented by this little one right here. These here are your upgrades to your locomotive. You're going to start off with a regular locomotive, and throughout the game you're going to have an opportunity to either get an express or what is called the Super Chief, and both of these will add a bonus die to your roll in certain situations, and I'll talk about how those work here in just a second. Right here you've got your cash money. Everybody is going to be receiving $20,000 at the beginning of the game. These here are your pawns and then your little railroad tokens. The pawns are going to be acting as your train, and the railroad tokens over here are going to be used to help you see where you are coming from and where your next destination is. You're basically going to be using these as markers. So the first thing you're going to do in the game is you are going to see where your home city is. And the way you're going to do this is you're going to use what is called this chart over here. You're basically going to be rolling all 3 dice twice, and the first roll is going to determine what your region is. And I'll go ahead and just do a roll right here. Okay. The red die is going to represent whether you are going to look in the odd or the even section. I have rolled a 2, so that is going to be the even section. On the white dice, I've rolled a 7, so I'll then scroll down, and then my region I'm going to start in will be the southwest. So I'm going to be in this section over here somewhere. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for whatever the city is. So since I've rolled southwest over here, I'm now going to roll all 3 dice again to see which city that I start in. So I'll go ahead and I'll roll. And I've rolled even with the red die again. So I will be in this section, and then I've rolled a 7. So my home city is going to be Los Angeles, California. So let's say I'm white. I'm going to go ahead and put this right here. I'm basically going to just write down that city on a piece of paper somewhere just to remember, because whenever I've amassed the money that I need, which is $200,000, I'm going to try to see if I can get back to that home city and win the game. Okay, so everybody is basically going to do this, and then on your first turn, you're going to go ahead and see what your destination is going to be. So to figure out what your destination is, you're going to go ahead and roll all 3 dice again, and now I've rolled odd. And I've rolled an 8, so my first destination is going to be in the northeast section, and I'll roll again, and then I will go to the northeast section here, and I've rolled an even, so it will be in Pittsburgh. That is where I'm going to start. So I will go ahead and I will put a white thing right here on Pittsburgh. So now that I've gotten my destination, I'm going to go ahead and roll. So now I'm just going to roll these 2 white dice right now, and then I'm going to go ahead and see where I can go. Now, nobody has bought a railroad yet. So in the beginning, nobody has bought any railroads yet, and so I'm going to go ahead and move 7. So I'm going to just say, let's just say I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Since I'm going to have to pay the bank $1,000 anytime I use one of their railroads. Now, since the bank owns both of these, I'm only going to have to pay a total of $1,000 right now. So I'll go ahead and pay the bank that, and then that will end my turn. Now, one of the rules about moving on the rail is that you cannot ride the same railway twice on your way to your destination. So for example, I can't go back this way or reroute and go around again. I have to only go, I can only go on that rail once. And also, you will see that there are certain spots here with squares. A lot of these are circles, but then there are certain ones that have squares on them. These are called milestones. If you get to a milestone, you will be able to switch railroad lines. Like here's one right here. If you do not have a square here, you will not be able to switch railroads. It has to be a square that will allow you to do it. Now, if you roll what is called boxcars, and this is a double 6, this will enable you to roll the bonus die. So I'm going to go ahead and just do another movement here. And let's say I've rolled this. So now, let's just say I'm on my way over here, and I'm going to go move 12. So I'll go 1, 2, and I'm going to go ahead and go this way since this is the same rail line. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now I've moved, and once again, nobody owns any of the rails. So that means I'm going to go ahead and pay the bank $1,000. You will also move 5 for the bonus die. Now let's say I've gone ahead and I finally made it over to my destination. There's going to be a couple of things that are going to happen. The first thing that is going to happen is I'm going to receive a payout. And the way I'm going to figure out how much money that I have earned from my trip is with this big payoff chart over here. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross-reference both cities, and wherever that amount ends up is the amount that I'm going to get. So I've started in Los Angeles, so let's go to find Los Angeles, which is right over here. And I've ended up in Pittsburgh, which is right here. So from Los Angeles to Pittsburgh, I've earned $26,500. So I'm going to go ahead and collect that from the bank. That's the first thing. Now the second thing is I'm going to have an opportunity to either purchase a railroad or upgrade to one of these engines over here. All of these railroads basically will have different amounts, and here's an example. The Santa Fe Railroad, which is this blue symbol thing right over here, is worth $40,000. You've got another one here linking north and south. This is a smaller one. This one's worth $4,000. So if I decide to buy a railroad, I'm going to go ahead and look and see which one I want to get, and then I will go ahead and pay the amount that's on here for that railroad, and then I will take that card. Now, anytime somebody rides on my railroad, they're going to have to pay me a $5,000 fee every time they ride it. If all of these properties get purchased, that is going to go up to $10,000 for a fee. And again, if it just so happens that somebody ends up riding 2 railroads that you own, like this on one turn, say I own both these, and the pawn moved on both of these, they're only going to have to pay me $5,000 total for both of them since they did it on the same turn. Alternatively, I could decide to buy Express or a Super Chief. The Express cost $4,000 and the Super Chief cost $40,000. What happens with an Express is if you roll any doubles on your turn, you're going to be allowed to roll the bonus die for some more movement. With the Super Chief, you're going to be able to roll the bonus die every single time. So these trays can help you move along faster on the board. Now let's say I was really close to my destination and I happen to roll a boxcars over here, which allows me to roll the bonus die, and I've rolled a 12 with this at 17, and let's say I only had to move 3 or so. What's going to happen is that I'm going to be allowed what's called a bounce out of this territory. Now usually on the beginning of your next turn you will go ahead and see what your next destination is. In this case you're going to go ahead and find out what your destination is as soon as you reach that area. And let's say I looked at my chart and I saw my next destination was Oklahoma City. Before my turn ends, I will be able to move 5 towards there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will only be able to do this if I have not used any numbers on the bonus roll when I entered that city. So once I've entered the city and I've gotten my payoff and decided which railroads I wanted to buy, if any, I'm going to go ahead and go through this chart again and roll the dice again twice and see where my next destination is. So let's say I roll and it turns out my next destination is going to be in Omaha here. So that is going to be where I'm going to head off to next. And then the same rules are basically going to apply. Now let's say I'm on this blue railroad over here heading to my destination, and somebody on a turn has purchased this railroad card where I am on. I'm currently on that railroad. I'm going to be what is called established. Normally what would happen is that the fee for the railroad usage is going to jump from $1,000 to $5,000. But since I'm already on the railroad, I'm only going to have to pay $1,000 up until the time when I get off of this railroad, since I'm already on it. So if I was to move over here and then move off, then the fee of $1,000 with the establishment is going to be null and void. And the next time I use that railroad, I'm going to have to pay the $5,000 fee. Now, if I ever get into a bind where I run out of money, there's a couple of things that I can do. I can go ahead and sell my railroad card back to the bank for half of what it is worth, or I can go ahead and try to just auction it off. So, for example, the Santa Fe Railroad is worth $40,000. If I wanted to try to auction it off, I would put it up and say, okay, let's start the bidding at $20,000. And so people can go ahead and bid on it, and they will bid up into $500 increments. And whoever basically wins is going to pick up the railroad card and then pay the person that was auctioning it off. Now, the final thing is, let's say somebody has went ahead and gotten the $200,000 in their bank. Now what they're going to have a choice to do is they will have an opportunity to do what is called declare. So when it becomes their turn, they can go ahead and declare that they're going to head on home and try to get to home for the win. However, they're going to have to go ahead and roll for what's called an alternate destination. Basically, once again, they will roll to see what that would be using this chart. And let's just say their alternate destination was Minneapolis. If it turns out that they are not able to make it because someone played a rover play on them, which I'll explain in a minute, then they're going to have the alternate destination to head to. And basically what a rover play means is that as soon as somebody declares that they're going to head home, all the pawns are going to have to try to catch up to where he is. So let's say he moves over here and yellow manages, let's just say yellow manages to either land on him or pass him. As soon as that happens, that player is considered rovered, and he is not going to be able to win right now because he got caught. And that person is going to have to pay the person who caught him $50,000, and then he will go ahead and travel to his alternate destination, which was in here. So basically what's going to happen is everybody is going to just use this chart and figure out where they're going to go and head that way, pay off any of the usage fees from these railroads, collect any fees that they've gotten based on the railroad cards that they have, and eventually what's going to happen is that somebody is going to reach home over here, and if you actually declare why you're at your home space, you will actually win the game automatically. And the winner of the game will be the first person who reaches $200,000 and is able to get back to their home space with that money. So my thoughts on the game Rail Baron. I like this game. This is a very cool game. This is one of the earliest railroad games, as I said before. And it is a little bit Monopoly-esque, but only in the way because you have the opportunity to purchase railroads and people will pay you fees, usage fees, in order to be able to use them. This game can go on for a while. They say the usual average time is about 3 hours. And one of the reasons why it takes a while to play is because you're constantly going to be looking at the destination tables and trying to figure out where everybody's going to go. And then you're also going to be using the payout charts as well to look up how much everybody gets, which can make the game drag on a little bit. But the good news is that if you have a smartphone, there is an app that you can use called RB Lookup, I believe is what it's called. And this cuts the game a lot of the time off the game because you can just simply use a couple of clicks to look up the cities and look up the payoffs. It's a very cool app. My wife and I played a two-player version of this game. It's called the Honeymoon Edition. So you can play with 2 players, and it works pretty well. But if you see this game at a thrift store, definitely pick this one up. This game goes for upwards of $100 on eBay if it's in good condition. And it's a rare game. So anyway, I would recommend getting this game if you like railway games or if you just kind of like games that are a challenge. This game is still pretty popular today to play. But anyway, that is my review on Rail Baron. Y'all have a great day and choo-choo, baby.